Swerte sa akin ng playtime. You're welcome. Playtime. Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Taas nun, ha? Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Ang bilis! Over 2,500 games para maraming chances manalo.
Hindi umuulan.
Hindi mo tayo makakapenta.
Yes!
Don't worry. Be Only with Smart's Power All 99. Hindi bitin ang benta with only TikTok or Facebook plus 10 gig data and more. Load now! Di abot ang data! GG, bro! Don't worry. Be Only with Smart Power All 99. Hindi bitin with 10 gig data to power your games plus only Facebook or only TikTok. Load now!
Swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa...
Playtime. Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Ang bilis! Swerte sa akin ng playtime. You're welcome.
Hindi aabot ang data. Nice!
Don't worry. Be Only with Smart Power All 99. Hindi nabitin with 10 gig data plus only Facebook or TikTok and more. Load now!
General All-Purpose Epoxy, palabahan sa kahit anong dikitan.
Sa ABC, sigurado ka. Sa dikitan, di ka papalya. Sa ABC, sigurado ka. Pulido ang trabaho, di ka papalya. ABC, sigurado ka dito.
Itong part na to.
Okay po.
Swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa...
Playtime. Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Taas nun, ha? Swerte sa akin ng playtime. You're welcome.
General All-Purpose Epoxy, palabahan sa kahit anong dikitan.
Itong part na to.
Si Vic Soto na ata ang pinakaswerteng tao sa Pilipinas. Kahit hindi niya alam, kahit hindi niya sinasadya. Swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa...
Playtime. Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Over 2,500 games para maraming chances manalo. Swerte sa akin ng playtime. You're welcome. Playtime. Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Taas nun, ha? Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Ang bilis! Over 2,500 games para maraming chances manalo.
Third matchup is now underway para sa inyong Playtime Filoil EcoOil 18th Preseason Cup presented to you by ABC Tile Adhesive. UAAP matchup. First of the day para sa araw na ito, it's National University Bulldogs going up against the UP Fighting Maroons dito mismo sa ating PlayTime Filoil EcoOil Center. You're looking at it right now. Posible, marami pa tayong pwedeng makita in this matchup, but this is gonna be very crucial and important for both of the teams upon setting up their pace para sa laro na ito. My name is Hans Galleria. Together with me is Randolph Leongson. We will be joined later on by Courtney Buenaventura at courtside. Randolph, it is so nice to be here with you today.
Yeah, nice to be working again. And again, we were saying, these are old rivals. This is UP versus NU. The rivalry runs deep between these familiar faces, and this is gonna be an intense matchup as we can expect.
Nakita na natin kanina yung matchup at hand. So with that being said, unahin na natin yung isa sa mga dapat nating tingnan. That's National University. The Bulldogs losing their first fight kontra sa UST kani-kanina lamang, and they would love to make a comeback for this game.
Yeah, slow start for NU doomed them last Thursday, and they cannot afford to have that slow start once again against a powerhouse team like UP.
You did mention the powerhouse, the University of the Philippines Fighting Maroons. They've lost some key players, but at the same time, tila ganun pa rin yung power level that we should expect from them.
Yeah, there's no Francis Lopez, no QMB, no JD Kagulangan, but no problem para sa bataan ni Coach Goldwyn Monteverde. Ang daming malalaking rest back ng Fighting Maroons, and we will see them today making their debut in our premier preseason league.
That is definitely going to be the question na posible nating malaman kung ano ba ang magiging kaso for them moving forward. This is a team that is destined to potentially defend their title, and these are your key matchups para sa araw na ito, presented by Pusopi.com. That's Jolo Manansala and Jerry Abadiano.
Yeah, Jolo Manansala, just a picture of consistency for them, conjuring up 8.6 points, 5.9 rebounds last UAAP. One of the three consistent producers para sa NU. Samantalang itong UP naman, Jerry Abadiano playing undersized maybe, but really a killer threat for the Maroons.
Could potentially take it all the way, but now we're gonna toss it over to Roy Sacote, our game announcer.
PlayTime Cares 18th Filoil EcoOil Preseason Cup, presented by ABC Tile Adhesive. Sigurado ka dito. This is game number 10 in our UAAP group between the National University Bulldogs versus the UP Fighting Maroons. Let us now meet the starters for both teams. First, for your NU Bulldogs. Point guard number 13, Steve Nash Enriquez. Shooting guard number 7, Paul Francisco. Small forward number 20, Jake Figueroa. Power forward number 42, Jolo Navarro. And at center number 18, Omar John. Head coach of the NU Bulldogs is Jeff Napa. And now let us meet the starters for your UP Fighting Maroons. Point guard number 16, Noire Mogat. Shooting guard number 18, Harold Alarcon. Small forward number 8, Jacob Baila. Power forward number 13, Mark Belmonte. And at center number 9, Francis Noruca. Head coach of the UP Fighting Maroons is Gold Monteverde. Our officials for this match, Crew Chief Dave Maligaya, Umpire 1 Shaw Alap, and Umpire 2 Arnold Lazaro. It's the NU Bulldogs versus the UP Fighting Maroons. This is the PlayTime Cares 18th Filoil EcoOil Preseason Cup, presented by ABC Tile Adhesive, where it all begins.
Definitely a moment to watch out for if you are a fan of the UAAP. It has been a while since we have seen these two teams collide. At sisimulan natin ang first quarter, presented to you by PlayTime Cares. Hans Galleria, Randolph Leongson, and Courtney Buenaventura at courtside. It's gonna be National University holding on to this right away. How could they potentially approach this?
Yeah, I'm interested on how this guy can make his impact in this game. Steve Nash Enriquez, I believe he's kind of the missing link for NU. It was a disastrous season 87 for them. And attribute that for Steve Nash being taken out of his comfort zone. You can see him more a pure point guard, but he was tasked to be more of a scorer last year. So this I see as will be a redemption season para kay Steve Nash Enriquez.
At yung kanyang kapalitan naman sa kabila, di ba? It's Noy Remogat holding or donning that black and white. So far, kasi like in jerseys nila, I would have said maroon, but he is technically a fighting maroon, and a lot of people are starting to see that already. The kind of responsibility and pressure that he could potentially have, because again, they've lost some key players on the way.
Yeah, and he's just replacing one JD Kagulangan lang naman, Hans. And again, you expect him to really be a big-time player for them, and he will be integral for this back-to-back drive.
Free throws brought to you by ABC Tile Adhesive. Sigurado ka dito. But at that time, it was Mark Belmonte splitting on his free throws. So that's 1-0 in favor of UP. And yet, it's Harold Alarcon. You did mention JD Kagulangan and all the other ones, but you still have this guy could potentially be, not even potential, he has proven to be one of the stronger players here para sa Fighting Maroons.
Yeah, Harold Alarcon was seen as a heir apparent to a CJ Cancino after CJ graduated last year and really filled that role to a T. And you expect him to continue shining para dito sa Fighting Maroons.
And right on cue, it was Harold Alarcon with a rejection kontra kay Paul Francisco. UP gets the ball right back. And now Remogat is going to be bringing it down kontra kay Enriquez. Iroka gives the screen. He's found right at the bottom and powers through for the two.
That's a strong move inside for Francis Noruga. I've heard lots of great things from this guy. They say that he's a better offensive specimen compared to Dikachi Udodo, who was the FSA last year for UP. And after that possession, we can see the promise that they've been raving about.
Probably the reason why he got the starting nod as well. Now it's Enriquez, another force. But had a forced shot during that moment. Alarcon, nananakbo na naman, wanted to go for it, but what a rejection. Nabawi ni Francisco yung supal sa kanya kanina.
Yeah, and that's really what you like if you are a fan of NU. If you're Paul Francisco, nabutata ka ni Harold Alarcon, gigil na gigil kang makabawi. And you were happy to get one. However, that was a nice find. Francis Noruga giving his side the 5-0 lead.
This is a warm-up para kay Francis Noruga. 4 points immediately, lamang ang UP ng 5.
Playtime. Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Taas nun, ha? Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Ang bilis! Over 2,500 games para maraming chances manalo. Playtime.
On your
Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Taas nun, ha? Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Ang bilis! Over 2,500 games para maraming chances manalo.
The Bulldogs, representing National University, still yet to look for a point after 2 minutes of action as the UP Fighting Maroons, with the anticipation that they've had, they could definitely and potentially do something about it. But so far, more substitutions starting to come in. Here comes Humamoy, here comes Santiago, and even itong si Padrones has started to come in for Coach Jeff Napa.
It was a lackadaisical start for the starting 5 of NU, and Reynard Humamoy, we know how great that kid can provide. And maybe ganyan talaga eh. Hindi mo makuha yung right combination from the start. Coach Jeff quick to pull the trigger in making those changes.
Coach Santiago tries to land it up with a shot. The outstretched arms nitong si Noruga got that last touch. Omar John and Noruga, that's a matchup you have to watch out for.
And you know, Omar John missing last year in favor of Moat Diazana. Nice to see him back in the white and gold of NU. I believe that's going to be a big challenge for him to really show that he's much deserving of that FSA spot. Alam mo, Hans,
Yeah.
when it comes to Omar John, the biggest question has always been his emotions, his temperament. And he's as skilled as anyone when it comes to the offense. But
For sure.
just having that right mindset, right mentality na you continue to play your game despite whatever is happening on the court, that would be crucial for him. And you expect that maturity to come if he gets the nod this season.
And he made the most out of it once again dahil siya ang binigyan ng starting nod. But speaking of which, Mark Belmonte gets his first field goal in this game. 3 points in total. The big men of UP are doing something here.
You know, with Mark Belmonte, this guy is one who seizes the moment. And last year, he had this breakout in this same preseason tournament and has proven to be a very important role player pagdating sa Diliman. And no surprise, he's doing his best and really getting that big lift para sa UP.
Another shot made for the Fighting Maroons courtesy of Mark Belmonte, oozing with confidence heading into this matchup. Now he gets more of the starting nod as
Yeah.
well, because from the previous seasons, we see him more as a supporting guy, but there will always be a time for you to showcase what you can do.
Yeah,
right?
nakukuha mo yung tiwala ni Coach Goldwyn Monteverde and the rest of the coaching staff. And that's really what I like about Mark Belmonte. He just plays in the same pace regardless of what the score is, what his role is. Off the bench starting, he always gives it his all. And you know, sometimes pagdating sa UP kasi, ang dami ng mga highly recruited players. But Mark Hill Belmonte really earned his way to their lineup, to the Team A rotation. And the fruits of his labor is showing with the minutes that he's getting.
As of this moment, that's going to be the third team foul para dito sa National University as they still kind of are trying to figure out how they're going to be approaching the UP defense, as Gani Stevens also making his entry dito sa laban na ito. Remogat still the floor general, giving it all over to Halarcon, using that extra drop pass to Nyoroka. Fader's not going to work. Good defense by John.
That was a solid play for NU, but Omar John doing just enough to distract itong si Francis Noruca on that pass.
Humamoy tapped from behind by Remogat. At this point in time, itong si Humamoy, one of the, you know, blue chip recruits coming out of high school, and now he's starting to showcase at his own pace why he's deserving of that nod. National University gets another chance.
And you know, we've covered Reinhard Humamoy for the longest time. This is now gonna be his third year as a part of the
been a while,
team.
right?
So, kumbaga, you expect the maturity that he showed in the fourth year of his high school when he became the juniors MVP to really show. Kumbaga, yung daga, yung naninibago ka, dapat wala na yan.
Well, look at this. Compared to his first game, Jake Figueroa starting off strong, having all 4 points of this National University roster. I honestly feel like he's taken more of responsibility for this season compared to last season's. Pero kahit nun pa man, malaki na talaga yung kailangan niyang iampas.
Yeah, Jake Figueroa, a former juniors MVP in his own right, knows the pressures of coming. Actually, Hans, last year there were talks that Jake Figueroa might not return for his 5th year. There were offers overseas actually for him, but obviously the season that they had left a bad taste on his mouth and really showed him that there's still a lot of improvement that he can have in his game. And now there's a chance for him to really showcase that.
Showcase that against the powerhouse. Being powerhouse of their own. A flurry of moves from Humamoy is not gonna work. He's had the open lane, immediately apologizing to the bench.
That was almost a nice move. Kaso lang, masyado lang matangkad yung front line ng UP. And that's gonna be a problem for NU trying to penetrate and extricate against those maroon trees. They have to find a way to neutralize the size advantage that UP has been displaying.
You're seeing Padrones and Stevens fighting it through. Gani thought about it. Miruka bumomba, nabitawan ng bola. Now he's gonna be Alarcon. 3 on the way. That's not gonna work. Takbo ngayon ng NU. Looking for an extra chance here. Figueroa slows down. And I believe that is a foul called against the Fighting Maroons.
And I really like that play for Jake Figueroa. If it was last year, you expect him to force the issue. But he was willing to pass the ball in that end.
Here's your Bostik El General All-Purpose Epoxy rebound of the quarter. Figueroa doing it on both ends of the floor. And just like what you said, we're seeing more branches to his game than just scoring. And that's exactly what you want to see. Kung ikaw, si Coach Jeff Napa. Back goes for NU, Humamoy. Mid-range jumper is not gonna work. But then, I believe a foul is called. Ngayon naman, ang UP ang nahihirapan trying to contain itong si Omar John.
And now that's going to be their 4th team foul for UP. So one more they will hand out. Free throws to NU. Might be a long first quarter for us, Hans.
Very much so, because we are seeing a lot of stops courtesy of yung defense displayed by both of the teams. 5 seconds remaining. Humamoy still looking for his first attempt to work. John kontra kay Stevens. Hook on the way, off to the left. And that is gonna go outside. Balik ang bola sa UP.
But you see the intensity for these teams, the heightened physicality. It doesn't feel like a preseason to me, Hans. And I told you, the familiarity, the rivalry runs deep. Some of the players from UP came from the NU Nazareth system. Obviously, Coach Goldwyn, a champion coach of his own in the high school ranks. So, kumbaga, some of the familiarity is very much heightened between these players.
And as of this moment, I honestly feel like sobrang magkakakilala na to eh.
It's really a chess match, as you can really see. This has been a low-scoring affair so far. No inches trying to be given by both teams. And really no easy baskets to start this game.
Hold up a minute. I think I heard someone say third personal foul. May isa sa mga manlalaro ng National University dito that could potentially not play for the rest of the first half given the situation. But here is Gani Stevens at the line. You know, usually given a lot of opportunities, and he's been looking for his home for the past few seasons, and now he's given a chance dito sa UP at hindi niya binibigo so far. Itong si Coach Gold. That's gonna be Gani Stevens getting his first 2 points in this game. Jolo Manansala for NU tosses it over, and that is gonna be Palacielo getting it through.
I'm just checking the stat line. It was Leonard Santiago who picked up his third personal foul para dito sa NU. But the good thing about NU is they've got a bevy of forwards who are able to really fill the gap, as you saw there. PJ Palacielo entering for NU.
And this time, it is actually Miguel Iñiguez getting it through para makapasok siya for that 1 and 2 points. Once more, awarded para sa kanyang kupunan. Here's Manansala. He scored 10 points last game. Double team given.
Oh, nice pass.
Itong si Padrones, just not the best angle to find there.
But it was a complete lack of player movement, off-ball movement for NU. That was almost a good pass, but kumbaga yun nga, just a miscommunication leading to another turnover for the Bulldogs.
Maroons tossing it around, leading to a 3 from Chico Briones.
Chico Briones getting his licks into this game. Played sparingly in last season, but now we can see kumbaga, the size, the length, and now he's adding this offensive repertoire to his game. Just another additional contribution for the Maroons.
14-6 with 2:30 remaining. Just tough defense being given here by Gani Stevens. And that was the question as we take a look at this once more. Three-pointer of the quarter brought to you by Jiangnan Hot Pot. Hot Pot ba sa Jiangnan na? And even Chico Briones knows it. Still a solid lead, 8 points.
Oh!
Courtesy of the Fighting Maroons as Abadiano will be called for a foul. And as of the moment, parehas ng penalty ang dalawang teams natin. So just like what you said, probably 4 or 5 minutes ago, we're gonna go to the line.
But Jan Felicilda was a little too physical in defending Reinhard Humamoy. Now he will give Reinhard Humamoy a chance to get his rhythm, his shooting from the 15-foot line. You mentioned earlier he's been trying to hit those jumpers. So this is one way to really have your range, your rhythm going.
Yeah, it has a psychological effect.
Yeah,
right?
and I paused because I was...
You didn't want to jinx it.
Yeah, in our past broadcast, lagi sinasabi namin ni Jay, kasalanan mo eh. So, ayaw mong puriin
All right.
masyado yung player.
That's fair. You know what? I'm not gonna talk to it. It works, no?
Yeah.
2 for 2. Para dito kay Reynard Humamoy.
You don't want to see Jeff Napa howling expletives at you from afar.
Just because it's of a free throw. You definitely do not want that. Right on back at the UP side. Steven sinusubukang ioga. Itong si Palacielo. PJ not giving up an inch. Briones challenging the defense of Parks. NU with a solid defense. But again, Briones the second time. Does not work. Stevens now. UP is at it.
That's just big boy moves from Gani Stevens. Just holding his ground in the paint and just defying yung constant movement of the NU defense down low to get that offensive board.
Now Palacielo looks to return the favor on his side of the floor as he is fouled. I like the aggression na ginagawa dito ng NU and the UP as well, really putting the pressure on the paint. Here's a shot from Briones, did not work, but it's the Fighting Maroons crashing the glass. Those are 3 opportunities.
And you know, this is where UP thrives. That constant ball movement, that fast-paced action. And yan yung mga dahilan kaya sila nakakatambak ng kalaban. And you cannot fall into the traps of matching that pace because they can operate better by having a more deliberate approach. As you see there, PJ Palacielo trying to back down itong si Gani Stevens. PJ had a breakout season last year, averaging double digits in points. Would be a very much big contributor for them if he continues to play at that pace.
And he was able to convert on both. He ties Jake Figueroa leading NU with 4 points each. Now here's Abadiano tossing it to 7 Gagate. Felicilda looks for another person. As at that moment, Abadiano, some room. Kaboom!
Jerry Abadiano adding some range in his game. You know, Hans, we have this term called Jerry shot by my good friend Norman Riego because Jerry likes that pull-up J from mid-range, but now he's adding that 3-point in his game. That's going to be a deadly weapon for him if he continues to add that. Dumadagdag yung shooters ng UP.
There's going to be a lot more options din para kay Coach Gold Monteverde. And as of that moment, I believe it's an offensive foul called against the rest of the members of NU, specifically para kay Jolo Manansala. And just in case you haven't seen it, I think a technical foul will also be awarded to the coaching staff of National University. And there you have it. Quite unfortunate.
And again, that's FIBA rules for everyone. No one from the bench can touch the officials. Kumbaga, kahit na mag-explain lang eh. But I can also understand the frustration itong si Coach Jeff Napa. Maybe for his end, he just wanted to get the attention of the referees to really heed their call. But again, that's an easy technical and he has to watch out for it because once it's another technical on the bench, Coach Jeff's out of here.
And from last time, kontra sa UST, Coach Jeff Napa was able to field out 11 players. That's, you know, pretty standard given that it's the preseason. You want to test all of your people out, but with 40 seconds remaining, they're going to have to stop this possession as Gagate lights it up. And UP is accurate from 3.
That's just too open for 7 Gagate. PJ Palacielo has to do a better job in closing out on his man. Yeah, I know 7 Gagate is more of a 4 of a big man, but if there's one thing that we've seen about this UP, everyone can hit from the outside.
Lansala tests it out. And the call is whether or not it's a traveling violation or a foul.
I believe that's a foul.
Yeah, I believe it's a foul as well. So with that being said, itong si Jolo Manansala, the leading scorer of their previous game, a loss kontra sa Growling Tigers is going to be going to the line. And if you're Coach Jeff Napa, this is a person that you would want to heat up early on.
Yeah, Jolo Manansala is just a guy, again, we talked about him in the pre-game, just a consistent contributor for him. You know the effort he will always bring it, offense, defense, but ang maganda kay Jolo Manansala kasi, he thrives dun sa mga pulot-pulot eh. And he's really a good off-ball player who can really hunt for those offensive rebounds. But now we're seeing him more of a main option para din sa NU.
Those broken plays have been his silver lining. Jolo Manansala, lead goes down to 10. Possibly the final possession will belong to the Fighting Maroons with 7 seconds remaining. Sabadiano activating Gagate. And that, I believe, is going to be the final possession of the first quarter. What a way to kick things off para sa UP Fighting Maroons. Really showcasing what they can do in the first 10 minutes of action. You're looking at the PlayTime Cares best plays of the quarter. Randolph, talk to us. How was UP able to get something of a distance here?
Precision has been the key for UP, shooting 10 of 16 in those first 10 minutes. Also not helping the 6 turnovers of NU, just pumping life, and you cannot afford to do that against a team as strong as UP. You saw there 7 Gagate hitting a 3, have 5 points. Just an all-out attack from the Maroons after the first.
3 3-pointers have propelled them to within 12, 24-12 in favor of UP.
Sa ABC sigurado ka, sa di kita di ka papalya. Sa ABC sigurado ka, pulido ang trabaho, di ka papalya. ABC, sigurado ka dito.
I spoke with UP assistant coach Chris Luanson, and despite coming off a UAAP title run, their mindset is clear. You're not defending anything right now, you're starting from the bottom again. He shared that the success they had last year wasn't just about winning, it's full of a season of ups and downs. One big advantage that they know they always have is that they have international experiences. The team has trained in Serbia and Korea, and now they're actually set to compete in Japan. Coach Chris says that they're grateful for those opportunities, and they believe that it's helping them shape a stronger, more focused UP squad this year. From champions to challengers, once again, UP isn't just back, they're building bigger. Hans Randolph?
Definitely loving that mentality. Thank you so much for that report, Courtney Buenaventura, as our courtside reporter, talking about, you know, the international experience of this UP Fighting Maroon squad. Pag ganun kasi kung sino-sino yung nakakaharap mo, pag bumalikan na dito, halos wala ka na talagang kakatakutan.
Yeah, really, the exposure against higher level competition overseas. Mapa Serbia, mapa Japan, mapa Korea. And you see that being the norm now for UAAP teams. They're not just settling by just playing here, but also they want to add more learnings by exposing their players in the international styles.
Free throws brought to you by ABC Tile Adhesive. It's PJ Palacielo at the line, really looking for some potential chances here. He was already able to convert on the first one, and that is both converted para kay PJ. 6 points now. Finally gotten here by PJ Palacielo to close it out back to within 10. Raylan Torres looking for that opening. It's not gonna go in. Almost a minute passing by. Manansala turning on the Jets. May vuelo. Still can't get it. Here comes the running Maroons. Stopped by Francisco. Iiwan kay Palacielo. What a spin for the 2 points.
I really like that move from PJ Palacielo. That has been in his bag. Just operating on the paint, and that's just money for PJ.
Down goes UP's lead to 8. As NU is starting to pick things up. Gagate looks for the bump. And that is very difficult to do when you're going up against Omar John.
Yeah, Omar John just stood his ground, ready to intercept 7 Gagate as he made his move in the paint. And immediately, ang bilis ng palitan ni Coach Goldwyn Monteverde here.
Technically putting
Yes.
Some more big boys in that paint. That's Francis Nyoroka and Sean Alter. I believe this is Alter's first minutes in the game. And with that being said, Enriquez also activated here by Coach Jeff Napa, looking for some extra options here. Palacielo tosses it to Francisco. PJ against Sean. He's gonna challenge it with the ISO. Bumping in a fade. I believe that will not count, but a foul is called against Sean Alter.
PJ understands that he had the advantage, the size advantage there, and had his ground against a little taller Sean Alter. So now they are trying to, this again, as I mentioned, Hans, and you can have more success by having this methodical, deliberate approach. And now they are put 2 fouls to UP in the second quarter. Now you see them really try to slow down this pace.
Yeah, UP hasn't scored so far in this second quarter. Meanwhile, NU has already scored 4. So, you know, at some point, ito yung mga sinasabi ng karamihan sa atin, nagapangin mo lang.
Oh,
right?
Chani
lang.
Yeah, and now you see that 13th foul as Raylan Torres was caught trying to steal the ball. So now you see the adjustments from Coach Jeff Napa.
Now it's Enriquez. Given a screen by Palacielo. John kicks it out. Francisco for the 3. Short that time. Steve Nash activating itong si Omar John, going up against Nyoroka. Powers his way through.
Yeah, Omar John, how much we missed that presence. A quick 6-0 spurt to start the second quarter for NU.
NU barking back with a 6-0 swing as we take a look at the power post-up move from Omar John with the left hook to cut it right back to within 6. UP needs a timeout.
Di mo tayo makakabenta! Yes! Don't worry! Be unleashed with Smart's Power All 99. Hindi bitin ang benta with only TikTok or Facebook plus 10 gig data and more. Load now!
Swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa...
Playtime. Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Ang bilis! Swerte sa akin ang Playtime. You're welcome.
Back in action we go. Coach Chris Luanzon, currently at the helm as of the moment, trying to propel his UP Fighting Maroons back into double digits because Coach Jeff Napa has made some necessary moves to cut this lead back and also make a run for themselves.
Again, we talked about the coaching chess match. It's not just the head coaches who are also doing that. Even the assistant coaches, you mentioned Coach Christian Luanzon directing traffic on that play while Coach Goldwyn was discussing things with Coach Bernard De Guia and Coach Eric Gonzalez. But you see, again, this is just the preseason, but yung level of seriousness with how the coaches of both these teams take this, it's like it's already season 88.
It's already the season.
Yeah.
And that move looks like it's already the season as well para dito kay Raylan Torres. His first 2 points in this game. They plan on continuing. John looks to challenge the defense of Nyoroka once again. He's done it before. This time he doesn't get it. Kicks it out. Patungo kay Palacielo. 5 seconds remaining. Chucks up a 3. Short. Good defense from UP. Torres now brings the ball back down kontra kay Francisco. Almost off balance. Nyoroka from deep. Too strong that time.
So everyone has the green light to shoot for 3 if you're UP.
Oh yeah. Just quite surprising. But at the same time, that was 2 fighting Maroons, Torres and Nyoroka. That's a rebound of the quarter brought to you by Bostek El General All-Purpose Epoxy. And just like what we saw kanina nung first quarter, it's UP crashing on the glass and getting the steal as well. Leaving it for Alter. But Francisco not giving up on the play. NU, let's set up our defense.
Yeah, nice interception by Paul Francisco. Had he not been able to get a grip on that, that would be a short dunk for Sean Alter. But you see here the intensity of NU on defense just heightening up. But what I didn't really like was the unforced turnovers committed by Steve Nash Enriquez, leading to that TO.
Quite unfortunate. Here is a forced one. Francisco has done it again. Enriquez challenging the defense over the trees. That's Steve Nash Enriquez.
Yeah, Steve Nash Enriquez, that's just a positive sign for him if he can get his game going. You know he's audacious when it comes to hunting for those shots, but what I really like about that guy is that is a pure point guard who will make his teammates happy every single time.
Now here's Niroja giving another scoop pass. This time, no more threes. I'll take it all the way to the basket.
Nothing much Omar John can do with Francis Noruha given that clear path to the rim. Kumbaga, open lane na siya. Everyone is cleared for takeoff.
28-20. Right after a few minutes, and then it is Sean Alter with a slight tap, but a slight tap is all he needs. Ball goes back to UP.
And again, those unforced turnovers again haunting NU. Kumbaga, medyo careless ng konti si PJ Palasiele in trying to protect that basketball, and they will hand another opportunity to UP. Nakakalapit na yung NU, but UP doing just enough to ward them off once again.
Just more substitutions being given by the coaches, and
nice
what
pass.
a drop pass. Patungo na naman kay Niroja. He has 8 points.
He's been the recipient of that beautiful passes from his teammates, and he's doing his job finishing at the rim. That's what you expect from Francis Noruha.
4-0 run from UP to get them right back. This time Figueroa thought about it, gives it to Francisco. But there's a foul before the shot. And with that being said, taking a look at this once again. PlayTime Cares Play of the Quarter, brought to you by PlayTime Cares, elevating the next generation of Filipino athletes. Drop pass necessary. 10-point is the lead. With 14 seconds, NU's looking for another basket here. Francisco looks for the opening. UP's not giving it to him. Enriquez from deep. That's not gonna work. Takbuhan na naman ang UP. Look at Niroja. That was almost touchdown. It's just not gonna happen. Making some explosive plays here are the Fighting Maroons, but National University holding out their own as well. Now Figueroa pacing some space para kay Omar John. He has that too.
Yeah, Omar John knocking down that baseline J, which he had in the bag. Nothing much that Raylan Torres can do. That's just too big of a guy to defend.
Lead is back to single digits. Look at Niroja challenging the defense once again. And Francis will go to the line. You know, in the departure of Francis Lopez, you have another Francis to watch out for.
A different type of game,
Yeah.
but really Francis Noruha making believers out. Again, I told you a lot of great things. Rave reviews have been given to this kid. And so far with what he has shown for UP, that's going to be a tough FSA to deal with. And just putting everyone on notice.
Definitely an agile, big, can definitely use his size. And now, Francis Niroja already with 9 points. He's leading the Fighting Maroons in this game.
And you know, Hans, when it comes to foreign student athletes, you understand why they're being recruited. Obviously for their size, really more for their defense. That sometimes the offensive repertoire that they can add is just a bonus. But
yeah,
this guy being added to this already stacked UP team seems like it's just a little bit unfair for everyone.
you know, it's quite interesting that you've mentioned that, because I think you're right. Francis Niroja isn't more of a defensive stopper, but he's more of an offensive beast.
Yeah, and he's really finishing up every feed that has been given to him. Just an added, it reminds me of a little bit of a Suleiman Chabio, but we can see more of his game as we go along.
Now here's Nato Labot turning it over. Fortea Thought about it, leaving it for Alarcon para sa tres. That's in!
That's just money for Harold Alarcon. You cannot leave that guy open, especially from the corner. That's the specialty of the house for that kid.
4 3-pointers already para sa Fighting Maroons. Angat sa 13 ang kanilang kalamangan. Working on with the 3-2 defense here. Then there goes Enriquez. They still missed. Someone's wide open. That time it was Tulabot introducing himself in this game.
Not Tulabot, just finding a way to fake out his defender. You know that Francis Noroka will always kakagat lagi dun sa fake eh. So he just had the better judgment to get his man jumping and then have the advantage when he's on his way down.
Patient basketball displayed here by Tulabot. Then after that stop, NU goes at it again. Figueroa challenges the defense of Ortea. Now there's some quick passing. Francisco gets it right back to Enriquez. Just 7 seconds remaining. NU looking for an opening to get themselves inside. There's Enriquez. That's open. But Omar Jan forced to create something for himself, pushing Nyoruka all throughout.
That was a solid defensive job for UP, not giving any room to operate for the NU Bulldogs.
Lots of action are going to be happening, but at the same time, we're going to toss it over to our courtside reporter. Courtney?
Yes, I caught up with NU's Steve Nash Enriquez, and after a tough loss to UST, he was honest about his performance. Sabi nga niya, it's not always going to be a good game, no matter how good of a player you are. But what stood out was his mindset. He said that nothing will stop him from learning, and he even admitted that Coach Jeff might have been a bit disappointed, but he actually understands why. For him, every setback is just a step towards getting better. So Steve Nash is showing that the best bounce back start with honest self-reflection, and maybe we can see that bounce back mentality this remaining quarters, right, Hans Randolph?
You're absolutely right about that, Courtney. As of this moment, I think when you look at Steve Nash Enriquez, this is a guy that's, you know, sets high standards for himself. Especially now na siya yung nagtitimon ng opensa ng NU for a lot of seasons now. And I think this is the most mature that we've seen out of him.
Yeah, and especially now that this is his 5th year in the seniors, you expect nothing less. Kumbaga, hindi mo na afford na magkaroon ng pagkakamali. You want to lead by example, not just by words, but also by action. And as we've mentioned, there is a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Steve Nash Enriquez, especially after last year's disappointment. So, kumbaga preseason pa lang, nakikita mo dinidibdib na niya yung mga pagkakamali niya.
Lalo na't ang binabantayan niya ay yung kakagaling lamang sa free throw line who's officially marked his first 2 points with UP for this preseason cup. What a way to say it, and what a way to, you know, enter in this game. That's Noy Remogat Humamoy from way out. He can shoot that.
And Reinhard Humamoy has to find a way to be consistent in hitting those 3 balls for NU to be successful.
They're also gonna have to bounce back on defense too, because again, mabilis ang naging pagbawi ng Fighting Maroons. Humamoy once more. Kind of a difficult shot there that time. Quick passing from UP. Alarcon's trying again. That time it does not go in. 39-27 with less than 2 minutes to go in this quarter. Quick passing again. Extra shots, and that time Figueroa was caught. But at the same time, Nyoruka immediately apologizing dito kay Figueroa. He had to jump, and you know, the landing was quite unfortunate.
Yeah, inadvertent elbow maybe for Francis Noroka, but the problem now for UP is that they've been in penalty for quite a while now. So he's gonna be rewarded with 2 free throws. Talking about Jake Figueroa to slowly close in and recover NU in this second quarter.
You know, there are already, I believe, 8 points scored by National University at the free throw line. Make that 9 already para sa kanya ngayon, as Jake Figueroa lands on his 5th point sa laban na ito. You know, way better compared to his start from his first game. And he's starting to be the anchor of offense for this NU roster, more than the previous seasons that he's had, cutting it down to 10 points.
And you know, for Jake Figueroa, that guy can make his impact on the team hindi lang siya scorer eh. He's very agile, he's very versatile, and he's very much great part of this team.
Hold up! Noire Mogat! Where did that come from? So I assume that's what we've been missing from all this time, huh?
Yung isang taon na paghihintay, sinesave, nilalabas na ni Noire Mogat ngayon.
My goodness, 12-point advantage. With 10 seconds remaining, now it's NU's turn. That is a shot. A fader will not work para dito kay Palacielo. Steal by Figueroa. Still continuing what they would want to do. Now, a fresh shot clock awarded to the Bulldogs. Humamoy with a fake, tosses it cross court. Figueroa goes to the line to shoot for two. I cannot wait to see a replay on that one.
Yeah, and I think you will be given that.
Look at that move. Going left, right. Now you see him, Parks. Now, all you can do is watch Remogat land on that layup. No wonder the UP community has been waiting for this kid all along.
And a lot have come here at the PlayTime Filoil Center to watch the debut of Noire Mogat for UP. But Jake Figueroa, as I was just saying during that highlight play, he can really make his impact by not just scoring the ball, the size, the length, and he's really very much key to the success of NU. And now they're able to cut the lead down to just 10.
8 points para dito kay Jake Figueroa, less than a minute ago. We started it off with 12 to 24. NU advancing in this quarter by 2 points, but at the same time, there seems to have always been a consistent problem at the paint. And it's been this guy who was initially rumored, kaya nga nang sabi mo kanina, to have good reviews, but not a lot of people have seen him yet. But this is his showcase of what he can do.
When you say a big problem, were you talking about Francis Noruca?
Oh yeah, I was.
So that was really the thing. When you say big, that was really talking about Francis Noruca, and we're really seeing that.
And at that time, more problems arise. And at that possession, it was Chico Briones with just a catch and shoot, even under the outstretched arms nitong si Jake Figueroa. He finds a way to secure the two. Lead goes up to 12.
Palabahan sa kahit anong dikitan.
Continuation of the final 37.8 seconds of the first half of action. We're seeing some plays, some executions in the PlayTime Cares Filoil EcoOil 18th Preseason Cup, presented to you by ABC Tile Adhesive. It is still a solid outing from UP, courtesy of that Chico Briones catch and shoot na nakita natin kanina. And with that being said, NU, it's up to them to potentially cut it down even more. Figueroa thought about it. 10 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Figueroa forced to take that shot. He wasn't ready for that.
That was a bad play coming off a timeout for NU.
13 seconds remaining. Remogat setting up the play possibly. Left in an island kontra kay Francisco. Goes left, but at that time was defended. And now, Francisco, that's going to be the first foul for him. But Remogat goes back to the line.
Paul Francisco didn't want to be any part of any highlights, Hans. But really, that was a solid defense for him. But his hand was just caught checking Noire Mogat. And Noire Mogat has a chance to add to his total just before the halftime.
Just like that, Noire Mogat has once again secured something. That is his 4th point of his game. Not to mention that 44-31 is also the score So Remogat settling in very quickly with his UP roster. 2 seconds remaining. Is Francisco aware of it? Apparently not. That would have placed them at a better position. But at the end of 20 minutes of action, it's the UP Fighting Maroons having a 13-point advantage. You're looking at the PlayTime Cares best place of the quarter. It is still UP with that distance.
Yeah, Francis Noruha being the difference maker. Omar John doing his best to match up, but really just the deluge of points continuing for UP. Harold Alarcon hitting a 3, and then Noy Remogat finally making his imprint for the maroon and green, even though they're wearing black today.
Can NU make a run to put a stop to it, or will UP go all the way? Second half when we return.
Yes! Don't worry. Be unleashed with Smart's Power All 99. Hindi bitin ang benta with only TikTok or Facebook plus 10 gig data and more. Load now! Di abot ang data! GG bro! Don't worry! Be unleashed with Smart Power All 99. Hindi bitin with 10 gig data to power your games plus only Facebook or only TikTok. Load now!
Swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa...
Playtime. Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Ang bilis! Swerte sa akin ang Playtime. You're welcome.
Hindi aabot ang data. Nice!
Don't worry! Be unleashed with Smart Power All 99. Hindi nabitin with 10 gig data plus only Facebook or TikTok and more. Load now!
Plastic, El General All-Purpose Epoxy. Palabahan sa kahit anong dikitan.
Sa ABC sigurado ka. Sa dikitan di ka papalya. Sa ABC sigurado ka. Pulido ang trabaho, di ka papalya. ABC, sigurado ka dito.
Itong part na to.
Okay po.
Swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa...
Playtime. Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Taas nun, ha? Swerte sa akin ang Playtime. You're welcome.
El General All-Purpose Epoxy. Palabahan sa kahit anong dikitan.
Itong part na to.
Si Vic Soto na ata ang pinakaswerteng tao sa Pilipinas. Kahit hindi niya alam, kahit hindi niya sinasadya. Swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa...
Playtime. Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Over 2,500 games para maraming chances manalo. Swerte sa akin ang Playtime. You're welcome. Playtime. Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Taas nun, ha? Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Ang bilis! Over 2,500 games para maraming chances manalo.
Yes! Don't worry! Be unleashed with Smart's Power All 99. Hindi bitin ang benta with only TikTok or Facebook plus 10 gig data and more. Load now! Di abot ang data! GG bro! Don't worry! The Only with Smart Power All 99. Hindi bitin with 10 gig data to power your games plus only Facebook or only TikTok. Load now!
Swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa...
Playtime. Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Ang bilis! Swerte sa akin ang Playtime. You're welcome.
Hindi aabot ang data. Nice!
Don't worry! The Only with Smart Power All 99. Hindi nabitin with 10 gig data plus only Facebook or TikTok and more. Load now!
All-purpose epoxy and general. Matibay na dikitan. Konkreto, kahoy, bakal.
Plastic, El General All-Purpose Epoxy. Palabahan sa kahit anong dikitan. Sa ABC, sigurado ka. Sa dikitan, di ka papalya. Sa ABC, sigurado ka. Pulido ang trabaho, di ka papalya. ABC, sigurado ka dito.
Itong part na to.
Okay po.
Swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa...
Playtime. Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Taas nun, ha? Swerte sa akin ang Playtime. You're welcome.
All-purpose epoxy and general. Matibay na dikitan. Kahoy man o bakal. Kahit sa kompleto. Pwedeng imasilya. Kahit anong dikitan. El General All-Purpose Epoxy. Plastic, El General All-Purpose Epoxy. Palabahan sa kahit anong dikitan.
Halftime stats presented to you by ABC Tile Adhesive between the National University Bulldogs and the UP Fighting Maroons. It's UP leading by 13, 44-31. And just looking at the stats below, I think you definitely have your sentiments about this.
Yeah, just beautiful basketball being shown by UP. All 16 conversions from the field have come off assist. 4 3-pointers just firing in all cylinders have been the Fighting Maroons, and then the 10 turnovers for NU just complicating matters for them. Just a dream start for the boys from Diliman.
You know, we're starting to see some more complexities pagdating sa depensa na dinidisplay ng UP Fighting Maroons heading into this matchup. Kanina, when they were going up against smaller defenders, they wanted to go 3-2 and then set up just either Sean Alter and Francis Niroka right at the two-man front court. But for the leading scorers, very evident. Double digits, Francis Niroka together with Cagate, Remogat, Alarcon, and Briones. On the other side, there's also NU for Palacielo, Figueroa, Humamoy, John, and Tulabot. Any players that you want to see spark things up for the third quarter?
Yeah, you mentioned this just before the halftime break, Hans. A big problem for NU has been the big guy of UP, Francis Niroka, 10 points. But also, we have to also mention the 4 rebounds that he's had in this game. The biggest difference, just a matchup problem for Omar John on the front court. Meanwhile, PJ Palacielo and Jake Figueroa, those 8 points were not easy. They really had to bleed for those points, and we expect no less in the second half. But NU has to make an adjustment to neutralize that big man for Diliman.
Key matchup presented to you by PusoP.com. It's at Jolo Manansala going up against Jerry Abadiano. They haven't that much minutes played in this game so far, pero kita mo yung points. Rebounds, of course, is by Malansala, but Jerry Abadiano has been contributing to sharing that basketball.
This has been the difficult part in finding that key matchup for UP, because everyone can contribute, anyone can break out at any day. And we see there Jerry Abadiano just happy to pick his spots, really giving the limelight to guys like Harold Alarcon, to I mean, there's just a lot of weapons from them, but really the front court has been the spot has been on the spotlight for them. Jolo Manansala, though, having a difficulty getting his game going. Just 2 points in this game, and it hasn't been easy for him. Only one shot actually from the field. He's trying to share the rock to his teammates, but he has to still get his game going because, as we mentioned, he's just an integral of a part for the attack of the Bulldogs. And if he can't get his game going, this may be a breakaway for UP.
You're looking at the leaders of National University, Steve Nash Enriquez and Jake Figueroa, also talking to their players, talking to their boys. They're expected to be the ones to step up, and they're doing that on their part. Meanwhile, on the other side, this team, led by Coach Chris Luanzon, definitely had a really good start, and this is somewhat expected na para sa kanilang mga fans, para sa kanilang UP community, and they would want to showcase that right now. Iba-iba yung balasa ng mga players. Everybody gets their chance, opportunities, and that's big considering na kahit sino yung ipasok mo, it's an assist. The point would come from an assist.
Yeah, and really just elaborating the point of sharing the basketball, they really have done an excellent job in that first half. But again, let's see if NU can slow things down to start the third quarter, because as we mentioned, that's how UP is breaking away from this game, by fastening the pace.
Third quarter dito sa inyong PlayTime Cares Filoil EcoOil 18th Preseason Cup, presented to you by ABC Tile Adhesive. Hans Galeria, Randolph Leongson, joined by Courtney Buenaventura at courtside. It's NU holding the basketball as of the moment, and that right there is Paul Francisco getting another three para sa NU.
Second conversion from downtown for NU, much needed to really try to catch up in this game. They have to match that firepower from UP.
That brings the lead back down to 10, 44-34. Baila now, even at the outstretched arms. Nitong si Jake Figueroa still finds a way to score.
Yeah, just that soft touch from Jacob Baila, which we've seen in his rookie season. You expect him to really be a big part of this attack for UP in his sophomore year.
46-34 in favor of the Fighting Maroons. With a minute passing by in the third, Francisco tries it again. This time, Padrones. Napalaban siya doon with boxing out against Belmonte. Lead stays at 12. With only a minute passing by in this matchup, I think that is something na pwede nilang ma-activate dito. More on the bigs. Try to punish it while Nuroca's not around.
Yeah, as I was just about to mention, Hans, this is the opportunity for NU to make their move. Francis Nuroca still sitting on the bench. Coach Goldwyn Monteverde opting to give more minutes to Gani Stevens, Joshua Coronel, and Mark Belmonte. So let's see if Omar John can really try to impose his presence down low without his counterpart.
Same could be said para kay Gani Stevens, that is now assigned to guard the FSA of NU. Still, 46-34 is the score. Enriquez finds Francisco, third try. He's made 2 out of 3. It's now 46-37. NU trailing by 9.
NU trying to ride the hot hands of Paul Francisco, playing his first in this Premier Preseason League.
And now it's Francisco once again. And one. 8 straight points para kay Paul Francisco. Down goes the lead to 7, 46-39 as we take a look at this one more time. Enriquez, flashy. Francisco, classy. NU goes to the line.
And again, attribute that to the quick hands of Steve Nash Enriquez. That's the Steve Nash Enriquez that we know of. Really just pesky on the defense, but quick to locate the open man cutting to the rim.
Unconscious in the third quarter. Itong si Paul Francisco already with 9 points. Securing things. 46-40 is the score. 6 na lang ang hinahabol ngayon ng National University, but they're gonna have to play on this side of the floor. Here's an attack coming in from Iniguez. Ball left behind. A turnover. Runway for Steve Nash Enriquez.
A 10-0 charge, 11-0 charge for NU to start the third quarter. This time, Paul Francisco returning the favor on the fast break.
46-42. Stevens, on the other hand, John gets a hand on it.
That was a close one.
It is definitely a close one indeed, but Figueroa not letting up with 7:36 remaining in the third. Still a lot of time, but NU, they immediately went at it. I wonder what the conversation was like. Because from what we saw, nung nagsimula tayo, Randolph, 44-31 ang score. Ngayon, with 7:36, 46-42 na. Apat na lang ang inaabol ng NU.
Yeah, and 11-2 opener for NU. And we're here at the court, but if I know Coach Jeff Napa, I bet you there was a lot of shouting during that halftime talk, Hans.
Oh, you're right about that. I think at that point, this is definitely the situation na gusto niyang ipakita sa kanyang mga players na kaya naman eh.
Kumbaga ginising ng konti.
Ginising ng konti. Niyog-yog. Niyog-yog niya siguro ng slight. And as of that moment, Figueroa joins 10 points, 46-44. Baila tosses it to Remogat for a 3. That's good. Stopping the bleeding.
First three-pointer of the game for Noy Remogat. This is what we missed from this guy from that year of residency. Those high-octane basketball that he can really do. As flashy as he can also hit that from 3.
49-44 is the score. Omar John off angle. But look at Kenshin Padrones fighting through the defense, fighting through every single person jumping him. He's not giving up his position.
And boy, there was a lot of meat in that paint. Kenshin Padrones just battling Gani Stevens down low. But the ball stays with NU.
10 seconds remaining in that shot clock. Now Figueroa lights it up. Masyadong malakas. Good box out though. Galing dito sa UP, that's Joshua Coronel. Now here's another attempt, and that time in and out. Coronel, another chance. Baila looks to turn it around. Mid-range jumper. It's cash money.
Jacob Baila likes that off the bounce, just fading for that midi.
As of that moment, balik ang kalamangan ng UP sa pito, 51-44. With a bit more than 6 minutes remaining, Francisco tosses it to the other side. What a tipsy-do move from Jake Figueroa. Let me stop you right there. This is a moment para sa NU. Remogat misses that, and now we're not going to miss a report from Courtney Buenaventura.
Asking Harold Alarcon if he feels a bigger responsibility this season now that he's stepping into a larger role for the Fighting Maroons. Surprisingly, he said it actually feels like less of a responsibility because of how much he trusts the teammates around him. That confidence in the team takes the pressure off. Harold's leadership might just be rooted in trust, just like the trust he's clearly placing in Remogat, who's stepping up big in his very first game for Filoil. And that quiet confidence between teammates is what's driving UP's rhythm today. Hans, Randolph?
Maraming salamat, Courtney Buenaventura. It's just 3 points separating these two teams. As we head into a break moving forward, this is an opportunity, a moment that we could definitely capitalize on. And this is a solid showing. We'll be returned.
Playtime. Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Taas nun, ha? Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Ang bilis! Over 2,500 games para maraming chances manalo.
Back in action we go. NU not letting up on what has been an onslaught brought about by UP in the first half. Meanwhile, Baila, silver lining, up you go. Down low is that shot para kay Baila.
4th point in this quarter for Jacob Baila, now trying to add more repertoire to the offense of UP. They need every basket in what has been an onslaught from NU.
Omar John now is gonna test him once again.
And
Just
look
not the best shot available there.
And look who's back in the court for UP. Francis Noruca trying to restore order for the black shirts.
Then a turnover. Ang ibinitaw ng National University. Enriquez challenging the defense. Figueroa, fader. Doesn't get the friendly roll. Lead stays at 5. Halfway point na tayo ng ating third quarter. Noruca now, side, step. That's not even a big man move.
I don't know what happened there, but really, Francis Noruca just showcasing everything in his bag. He's just as good as advertised for UP.
12 points in the game. What a move from Francis Noruca. Oh my, what a no-look. I had the ball, but it's the art of misdirection. Galing kay Padrones.
And 13 points in this quarter for Paul Francisco, just shining light for NU.
Baila now, tested. He goes down. Coronel looking for a fader as a friend. That does not work that time. 4-on-4 play. But Enriquez noticing at least he had some space. He gives it to UP as they stole it right back. Now here's Remoga challenging the defense, and he gets the N1.
And you see the basketball IQ of Noy Remogat using Omar John as somewhat of a shield against the NU defenders. Omar John can't really do anything and was caught flat-footed on that break.
Fast break of the game brought to you by ABC Tile Adhesives. ABC Tile Adhesive, sigurado ka dito. At nanigurado din itong si Noy Remogat. Isipin mo, using your opponent as a friend. Meron nga tayong kasabihan, di ba? An enemy of an enemy is a friend. And he used that to his advantage.
And Omar John didn't really like that one. But again, that's also on the NU guards. No one stopping Noy Remogat on his tracks, leaving the big man by his lonesome on that break. And all of a sudden, this is how fast UP can restore order. They are up back by 8 points.
58-50 is the score. Lamang ang Fighting Maroons ng 8 as of the moment with less than 4 minutes to go in the third. More activations here for the Fighting Maroons brought about by Coach Gold. But look at Palacielo challenging Noruca. That time the defense has proven to be more fortified. It's Alarcon and Fortea's turn for the Fighting Maroons. Screen by Francis. NU denies. Now it's going to be Andres getting a screen. Alarcon, mid-range jumper. Does not work. Tapikan ng bola. Now it's Padrones. Showing us a bit of moves. But ball stopped. Fortea continues. And he gets the 2.
You cannot do it against Terence Fortea. You have to protect the basketball. And that was just a little too careless for PJ Palacielo, leaving for that steal and score for number 10, Terence Fortea.
Not time. That is going to be PJ Palacielo. He's been, you know, one of the bright spots here para sa National University already in double figures. But at that time, we're not practically sure with what went wrong there as a foul, or should I say, a steal. Made about turnaround by Fortea. That's a 3-and-D player when I see one. And this time around, Umamoy activating Palacielo. Good placement of the ball to get him that 2 points. 60-52 is the score. And it looks like no challenges are going to be needed. Our official saw.
Yeah, that was...
The last touch was Niroka.
That was a great reprieve for NU.
This time it's Palacielo. He's the one, you know, channeling the deep offense here. Humamoy, slow step, and that goes in.
That's just vintage Reinhard Humamoy. Just slow break on the drive. How we missed that move.
You love how he plays at his own pace.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, still a good showing as of the moment.
That's a special kid. Again, that deserves that highlight.
Here's your PlayTime Cares play of the quarter. Humamoy with a slow step. PlayTime Cares elevating the next generation of Filipino athletes. Now they're going to be looking for a potential review of play right here. Because to NU, it was L.A. Andres that caught the ball last. And on the other side, it was another player from National University. So NU, so far they've done their job to keep things at a distance. They went to as close as 3 points, but UP holding it back. Coach Chris Luanzon immediately activating Francis Ñuruca as soon as they knew it. And the coach's challenge is successful once again. They've had an initial challenge kanina, but they didn't even do it. Now they do.
But, you know, this is a critical juncture of the game for NU. Kumbaga, when you get punched with how UP punched you in the first half, you want to respond and you have to use this momentum to a T. And they have made their move, really putting UP in penalty situation with 5 minutes to go with that quick, intense attack. And now they want to sustain it to end this period, but they're still playing behind by 6 points.
Approaching the last 2 minutes of this third quarter, NU needs to come up with something here. Very crowded yung kanan. Humamoy lights it up. And that is gonna be a foul na ibibigay ng University of the Philippines. Janjan Fenesilda obviously frustrated with that, but either way, Humamoy goes to the line. Let's take a look at this.
And again, Reynard Humamoy just too crafty. When he felt Janjan Fenesilda's hands touching his elbows, he was just too smart of a guard to heave that three. However, missing that first three again. Ito na naman yung commentator's chicks hands.
You know what? We're not just gonna talk, but this free throws is brought to you by ABC Tile Adhesives. ABC Tile Adhesive, sigurado ka dito. See?
But again, we've been covering Reinhard Humamoy for the longest time. It's nice to see him sporting that smile.
Yeah.
It feels like he's now comfortable with the role that he has for NU. Again, this is his third year, more of a relief guard for Steve Nash Enriquez. But you know, the high expectations of Coach Napa, the trust that he has on this kid is through the roof.
What a pass! And at that time, that is going to be an offensive foul called against Gani Stevens.
Yeah, he was just warding off.
There was a stiff arm right there. And Jolo Navarro had to, shrug it off, looking at it again. There were jumps. But then Gani Stevens, kumbaga, tumabi ka dyan eh.
Hinawi.
But yeah, it was evidently seen by our officials. Hard fall for Jolo Navarro, but
that was clear as day.
That was clear as day. If I had 20/20 vision, I would have seen that immediately. Well, 1:30 left. 60-56 chance for NU to cut it down to a single possession. What a power move. That's a big boy post move from Palacielo.
Yeah, that's just basic post move for PJ Palacielo. Just backing down, and when he had the chance to attack, he took his shot.
Gagate though, he noticed himself open. It's a shot that he'll take, but it's gonna be a miss. Chance to tie or take the lead now. Palacielo had the hot hand. But as in a moment, Fortea gets the rebound, gives it to Alarcon. Harold would have thought about it. He has his own pace of play, and a foul is going to be called. Fortunately, wala pa naman sa penalty ang NU, so there's still lots of chances to go for this.
You mentioned that, Hans. Players having their specific pace. We talked about Reinhard Humamoy earlier. This time, Harold Alarcon. Feels like a special skill of players nowadays that it's really deceiving. Sometimes they can choose to really speed things up, but sometimes it's a slow break that utilizes to their advantage.
Terence Fortea! My oh my! That's 5 points in this quarter for Terence. 30 seconds remaining, 63-58. UP still up by 5. Humamoy left the ball there for a bit. Now he's challenging the defense. He goes against Janjan. And Felicilda has proven to be a worthy opponent. Now Fortea, shot clock is now off. 15 seconds. Felicilda leaves it for Gagate. And one.
That was a nice passing from UP.
Just look at Fortea. Felicilda, the unselfishness yung ginawa nila kanina, that every point must come from an assist. they're still bringing that up to the third quarter.
And Jolo Navarro was caught between a rock and a hard place. He had a choice if he will challenge Janjan Felicilda or stay low, and Janjan Felicilda just making that great read, dropping the pass off, and now Seven Gagate will try to complete this end one play.
And he does. Seven Gagate now with 8 points. And with that being said, I believe there's going to be some more substitutions moving forward, or I think it's a timeout that's been potentially called, as the situation is going to be talked about by one of our officials, or two of them actually.
Yeah, because only 4 players were on the floor for NU.
And I believe it's going to be a warning whether or not...
For delay of game, I believe.
Yeah, for the delay of game. But we're looking at it as of the moment. But no calls. Oh, there goes the warning. 10 seconds remaining. Humamoy now. They're breaking the press. Parks looks at Palacielo and he finds a way, squeezes himself onto that defense. UP with a Hail Mary shot that will not go in. And at the end of the third quarter, NU has managed to keep it close. But UP, hawak pa rin ang 6 na puntos na kalamangan. You're looking at the PlayTime Cares best plays of the quarter. Randolph, this is NU's quarter. How were they able to do it?
Yeah, Paul Francisco being the difference maker for them. 13 points in this quarter, helping NU get back in this game. However, UP just weathering the storm. We saw there Terence Fortea having his moments, but this is still UP in the lead. They're up by 6. Let's see how NU will respond in the fourth quarter.
Could potentially be a photo finish for both of the teams. It's the Fighting Maroons leading 66-60.
Playtime! Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%.
Taas nun, ha?
Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Ang bilis! Over 2,500 games para maraming chances manalo.
You're still watching PlayTime Cares Filoil EcoOil 18th Preseason Cup presented to you by ABC Tile Adhesive. We're still live here at the PlayTime Filoil EcoOil Center. Hans Galeria, Randolph Leongson, and Courtney Buenaventura at courtside. It is a 6-point difference between UP and NU. And now it's going to boil down into these last 10 minutes.
And you expect this guy to really make his imprint. Harold Alarcon has been fairly silent in this contest so far.
Fortea tries to go for that 3. As you can see him, it's a numbers advantage now. Fortea immediately going to the other side. Parks on the way for the 3.
You know, this is a positive presence for NU. Mark Parks, the brother of former UAAP MVP Bobby Ray Parks, now getting his licks for the rotation of Coach Jeff Knapp, and he's really making those minutes count.
Fortea, on the other hand, is going to be missing. But at that time, Seven Gagate, his, I don't know, size 15 or 17 shoes was caught stepping on the line. Just look at this once more. The 3-pointer of the quarter brought to you by Jiangnan Hot Pot. Hot Pot ba? Jiangnan na. And that right there is Mark Parks showing us the lefty stroke that is familiar in National University.
Mapapasarap ang higop ni Mark Parks ng Jiangnan if you can pull this one out of the bag.
But look at Palacielo pulling every single thing. Napasarap ang kain sa ilalim.
And again, against 3 defenders, PJ Palacielo just feasting down low.
Now here's Fortea. A single point now, 5-0 spurt, or 4-0 spurt by the side of NU. And at that moment, I think from the looks of it, this is Palacielo against Gagate. For someone his size, having a quick first step on that turnaround is just a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, you know, in the immortal words of Shaquille O'Neal, that's just feet work. And when he saw 7 Gagat on the post, that's just barbecue chicken for him. He knows that he had the advantage and he used it to a T.
Barbecue chicken, chicken wraps, whatever it is, it's a wrap for that possession. Now a chance for NU to take the lead here.
Ooh.
That right there, I believe, is a blocking foul called against Terence Fortea. He was at the right instance, but just at the wrong place.
Yeah, and that's just... You can see Reynard Humamo is still feeling the effects of that collision.
Which is the reason why they're going to be calling on a timeout. Both coaches will have to talk it through.
Playtime! Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Taas nun, ha? Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Ang bilis! Over 2,500 games para maraming chances manalo.
All-purpose boxing and general. Matibay na dikitan. Konkreto, kahoy, bakal. Plastic and General All-Purpose Epoxy. Palabahan sa kahit anong dikitan.
It is now National University trying to get a lead that I felt like they haven't held in such a long time. And so far, yung biggest lead changes pa nga lang natin, nangyari. Hindi nangyari. Because NU has been trailing for the entirety of this match and now they have a chance to get it for themselves.
Yeah, maybe it will be in this possession. And immediately, another whistle will be called against Harold Alarcon. You know the thing that I noticed here in the second half, Hans? Francis Noruca has been neutralized by this NU team.
And just like what you mentioned, Karina, I think it's because of them focusing on these half-court sets.
Yes.
Not really prioritizing that much acrobatic move from Jolo Manansala has been right there. Kung kaya ngayon, since the game plan or the pace of NU are those half-court sets, we're seeing PJ Palacielo really take advantage.
Yeah, PJ Palacielo, Kenshin Padrones, all having their moments. Si Jolo Mansala pa kayong medyo missing link ng konti para dito sa NU.
Because again, you did mention, broken plays have been the asset of Jolo Manansala. But for the other things, it's these players right here. But a foul is going to be called against National University, and it's gonna go to Jolo Navarro. So that's already the third personal foul and team foul nitong NU. So there's still a lot of time left on the clock.
14 seconds on the shot clock.
Baseline inbound now for the Fighting Maroons. They're struggling to look for something, but they find Belmonte. Mark goes up against Jolo. Defensive play, and that time Navarro did just enough to commit a turnover from UP.
Those are brownie points for the rookie Jolo Navarro from Letran, showing why he's earning these fourth quarter minutes from Coach Jeff Napa.
Now here's Manansala, featured in our Puso Pilipinas ski matchup. That time, you know, for the last minute and 30 seconds, it's been a foul party for both of the teams.
Yeah, and again, the physicality, I told you from the onset of this game, no inches given by both of these teams. This is just the preseason, just reminding you that, but the intensity is still at an all-time high.
Whatever you bring to the preseason, you get at the season as well. That being said, I need a stat line for that. Not gonna lie, I need a stat line for that. How many fouls have happened at this quarter alone?
And really, Reynard Huamoy just becoming a matchup problem, throwing a bevy of fouls. This time, Jerry Abadjano picking up that one, that's going to be the 4th team foul for UP.
65-66. It's been a minute and 30 since anybody has scored in this quarter. Umamoy, just like what you said, challenged by Abadiano. Ooh, he fell. Manansala, straight up jumper. In and out it goes. UP with a rebound. The Fighting Maroons starting to slow things down. Stevens with the screen as he gives Torres. Now here's Belmonte, finds some room. NU back to recover. Belmonte doesn't get it.
I didn't really like that offensive play for UP. A lot of one-on-one plays. No much ball movement, player movement too.
Now here's Palacielo, the man of the second half, challenging Gani once more. Fader on the way. Still no good. Another 1v1 play that we saw from this team right here.
And again, for UP, they need to ensure that basketball, which has been their bread and butter from that first half, a lot of coming from off assist, that has been absent in the second half.
Now they tried to proceed. Here's Jolo Navarro testing the smaller Abadiano, but that time Belmonte came in with the assist.
He's just got 2 players on him on that play. Bad shot from Daruki.
The next basket is going to be huge, honestly speaking. No one has made a bucket, and the last time was the 8 minute and 30 seconds of the 4th quarter. It's been almost 5:45, or it's just 5:45 now. Oh wow!
And you see the player movements too.
You also see the desperation from these players. They obviously want to get some points on the board, but at the same time, both of them playing really solid defense in the last 3 minutes.
Really, the defense has been impeccable in this 4th quarter. As much as not much points has been given, attributed with how they've tried to defend each other.
More substitutions being fielded here. Coach Jeff Napa putting itong si Reynard Umamoy back at the bench. They're looking for some more options on offense, and there goes a shot mula kay Remogat. That's not gonna work. Francisco back in the lineup as well. He's been that spark plug in the 3rd quarter for NU. Figueroa kicking it out. Francisco lines up a 3. That's not the best looking shot there. I mean, from the way he released it, it looks like it was already gonna go way too short.
Medyo nanlalamig pa eh. Kakabalik pa lang. But you expect that with how Paul Francisco has held himself in this second half. Really just sparking this fight back from NU.
It's been the past 3 minutes. Both teams scoreless.
And that
continues. The next basket is definitely going to be crucial. We're going to wait for that. But now, let's hear it from our courtside reporter, Courtney Buenaventura.
When we watch Jake Figueroa play, we're not just seeing the result of one good practice. Sabi nga niya na his performance is a product of repetition, discipline, and the ability to make the little things second nature on top of balancing the demands of training and of course academics niya. And for Jake, that's exactly what he hopes to pass on to NU's younger players. Not just the skills, but the mindset that consistency and hard work rather, are what truly set the tone. On the court, Jake leads with effort, but off the court, he's trying to inspire through example.
Maraming salamat, Courtney Buenaventura, for that one. Jake Figueroa has been an absolute leader, but this time, Palacielo, or should I say that's Padrones. Either way, the big boys are putting in the work.
I can't fault you for mistaking one for the other. PJ Palacielo and Kenshin Padrones, basically almost identical, but no matter who it is, and you finally in the driver's seat for the first time.
And here we go. Buckets are starting to pour. And for UP, it's Jerry Abadiano coming through. Look at that first step hesitation move. Absorbing the contact against Francisco. And now he goes to the line.
And this is what I'm saying to you, Hans. The thing with Jerry Abadiano being the veteran that he is, he knows when to pick his spots. He doesn't need to really force the issue because he knows that he's going to get his licks. And on that end, he's just got the advantage over Paul Francisco. Now he just put UP up by 2.
69 to 67 with 4:05 remaining in this game. Now it's Francisco looking to redeem himself. Enriquez gets a screen. He chooses a 3. Off it goes. Patungo kay Abadiano who makes a run for it. Double possession ang hinahabol dito ng Fighting Maroons, and that time it's Francisco caught for a foul. And both teams are already in penalty, and you have 3:45 left in the game.
And again, that's just the basketball IQ of one Jerry Abadiano, just having that advantage on the break and acknowledging that NU is already in penalty. And he doesn't need to force the issue and get hacked on his way up because he can earn these points by going through the free throw line.
And Abadiano, 2 straight visits at the line, and he was able to still continue. This shows you the veteran that he is. Yung lahat ng mga pinagdaanan niya being part of all of those finals appearances.
And 5 straight points now for Jerry Abadiano, just restoring restoring everything for UP. And that just shows volumes of the trust na meron si Coach Goldwin Monteverde with Jerry Abadiano na kumbaga minsan tinginan na lang eh. Nagkakaintindihan na kung ano yung gusto ni Coach Goldwin, and he is showing that.
Minsan hilingan na lang eh.
Oo!
Hilingan na lang eh, like,
Motion na lang.
Yun na yun.
Wala
That's
na
it.
salita.
But this time, it's gonna be another attempt. Palasielo challenges Gani. Palasielo. That time, Gani stood his ground. 67 to 71. UP looking to pull away in this game. There's another one. That time, Abadiano's the hot hand. He's not letting up.
8 straight points for Jerry Abadiano. That key matchup was going to be a lot different than what we saw it during halftime. And you know Jerry Abadiano is just making himself felt come winning time.
Now Palasielo still tries to challenge the defense, and that time PJ Palasielo will not be denied.
And I really like that PJ Palasielo doing what works for NU, and that's really attacking the basket down low.
And look at this. Humamoy is going to be called for a foul once again. And guess who goes to the line? Come on, I'll leave you guessing.
The man of the moment in this fourth
My
quarter.
goodness. What a game from Jerry Abadiano. Right at the first half, he's only scored 3 points. But now, he's at double figures right away, able to create some opportunities and some space para sa kanyang mga kakampi. Scoring 9 points in this fourth quarter. He's not even affected by the jinx, Randolph. He doesn't care.
It's not like we're forcing it, right?
We're not. We are so not.
But really, Jerry Abadiano, a winner in every sense of the word, just making his presence felt in this fourth quarter.
Figueroa didn't make it. Good smothering galing dito kay Jacob Baila, and 2:25 remaining in this game. UP led by that man with the ball, Jerry Abadiano. Kontra kay Steve Nash Enriquez. Step back. Leaves it for Remogat. Being hounded by Humamoy. Remogat, mid-range jumper, and another foul is called.
Yeah, that's on Jolo Manansala. He's just caught trying to steal the ball when Remogat was already on his way up. Remogat is just too crafty with that basketball. And somehow, the floodgates are slowly opening up para dito sa UP.
And that's what happens when someone steps up so much, right? For Jerry Abadiano, he gathered so much attention in the last 2 or 3 minutes to the point where you need to double team him, leaving at least itong si Remogat as he gets another offensive rebound.
parang nakalimutan ng depensa ng NU na Menoy Remogat pa to.
Last 2 minutes now underway, brought to you by ABC Tile Adhesive. ABC Tile Adhesive, sigurado ka dito at sigurado din ang ating mga officials that is gonna be a pushing foul.
Yeah, that's an offensive foul on Gani Stevens on that rebound play. Hindi daw bumax out nanulak sa loob.
Yung box out niya, medyo naging box in.
And the thing is, with that
You're
being
right.
a loose ball foul, that means 2 free throws for PJ Palacielo. An opportunity still, a window of opportunity still for NU to close the gap.
With that free throw made, PJ Palacielo now has 19 points in this game, being the leader, the offensive anchor of the NU Bulldogs. Making it both as well. They're keeping things close as much as they can.
And yun yung sinasabi natin, Hansi, chani-chani lang, unti-unti mo lang. And that's exactly what PJ Palacielo has done. Kumbaga, nagugulat ka na lang na yung pulot-pulot niya, atake niya sa loob, nakaka-20 puntos na sa larong to.
77-71 is the score. 6 points separating these two teams in the final 2 minutes of action. It's Remogat holding down the line. Iniguez also getting some extra minutes coming in from Coach Gold Monteverde. They tossed it around. Baila now looks to challenge. He finds something there, and yet a foul is called once more.
And Jacob Baila just having the advantage over PJ Palacielo on that end. He's just a faster, more agile player. And that's just easy pickings for Jacob Baila. But he has to earn his points the hard way.
More substitutions now. Mabilis ang palitan naman dito. Ni Coach Jeff Napa, Omar John's gonna be sitting down, same with Paul Francisco rather. Jacob Baila at the line. Shooting practice for this kid now.
And you know, Hans, one of the things that I want to note, both teams trotting out an all-local lineup really shows you the depth of both of these teams, that as good as Francis Noruga has been, as good as Omar John has been, they can opt to play all Filipino.
Pampataas ng kumpiyansa, pampataas din ang level ng kompetisyon. We're heading for a timeout.
Itong part na to.
Si Vic Soto na ata ang pinakaswerteng tao sa Pilipinas. Kahit hindi niya alam, kahit hindi niya sinasadya. Swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa
PlayTime. Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Over 2,500 games para maraming chances manalo. Swerte sa akin ng PlayTime. You're welcome!
Final minute and 35 remaining in this third matchup of the day between the UP Fighting Maroons and the National University Bulldogs. We still have games afterwards para sa inyong lahat. It's still the Perpetual System Delta Altas going up against the CSB Blazers later on at 4. So abangan nyo yan because it's also going to be a major matchup with a lot of key figures from their high school team moving on.
Yep.
Sa kanilang collegiate.
Perpetual making their debut here in a Premier Preseason League. Meanwhile, Benil trying to assert control and gain early leadership in that NCAA group. But our focus is still here in the UAP group.
You were talking about asserting control. And that time, it's Steve Nash Enriquez getting a point para sa NU to close it back to within 5.
Big basket coming from Steve Nash Enriquez, taking charge when he needs it the most for NU.
Remoga tosses it over to Iniguez. He's looking for someone there. That time Stevens recovers. Baila thought about the pass. A second remaining. And that is going to be a 24-second shot clock violation. What defense from NU. But take a look at this three-point shot of the quarter brought to you by Jiangnan Hotpot. Hotpot ba? Jiangnan na. Steve Nash Enriquez.
But going back to that last play, Hans, credit that to PJ Palacielo intercepting that entry pass to Gani Stevens, basically throwing the wrench to that offensive play of UP and really kind of confused Jacob Baila, making him unaware of the shot clock and leaving them with no time left to shoot.
Valiant defense also from National University because again, we're starting to see the development of the play around 14 seconds left in that shot clock, but there was a slight bump galing doon kay Jacob Baila. He wanted to pass it. I felt like he should have, but at the same time, he noticed the size advantage. And from the looks of it, our officials are, I believe, taking a note on the review on whether or not the three kind of counts or not.
I believe that should not, but just to make sure, the referees are just making that clear.
Oh, this was the review all about. So it's whether or not Steve Nash Enriquez has shot a 2 or a 3. But from the looks of it,
that's clearly a 3.
Clear as day. 79-74 with exactly a minute remaining. Can NU make something happen here to close this one out? Enriquez, step back jumper. That does not go. And now Abadiano.
I thought that was a travel.
But play continues. Play continues. UP, the next bucket would be massive. Abadiano's right there. He has the open lane. Jerry Abadiano.
Talk about putting the exclamation point, Hans. This guy has been the man in this fourth quarter, and Reinhard Humamoy was just too late and was caught in his hands. Jerry Abadiano is just too crafty in this fourth quarter.
Quick first step brought to you by Jerry Abadiano. And that might just make things more difficult para sa National University. Jerry Abadiano continues to propel.
All purpose boxing, El General, matibay na dikitan. Kahoy man o bakal, kahit sa kompleto, pwedeng imasilya. Kahit anong dikitan, El General, all-purpose epoxy. Boxstick, El General all-purpose epoxy. Palaban sa kahit anong dikitan.
The University of the Philippines looking to pull away with this one. They lead by 8 with 33.2 seconds to go. For National University, they don't want to go 0-2, but for UP, they don't want to start off 0-1.
Yeah, and really, when it comes to the UAAP group, only 7 teams in contention, only 6 games to play. So if you fall 0-2, it's going to be hard for you to make it through that top 4.
Taking it out, Palacielo with the challenge again. This time he drops. Humamoy, 3. That doesn't go in. UP with a valiant effort. And it looks like Alarcon, together with Gani Stevens, is just gonna dribble this one out. The UP Fighting Maroons. Humamoy wanted to get at least the last possession.
He gets a steal in the stat line.
Gets a steal, gets a stat. But that is that. The UP Fighting Maroons beginning off their PlayTime Cares Filoil EcoOil 18th Preseason Cup with a dub against the National University Bulldogs as they win by 8 points, 82 for UP, 74 for NU.
Really a lot of heroes conspiring to enable UP to get that debut win in the PlayTime Cares Filoil EcoOil 18th Preseason Cup. But again, Jerry Abadiano's just got the hot hand in that fourth quarter when everything else is failing. He just took over and helped UP survive that furious rally from National University, enabling again them to earn this first win.
There was a slight drought in the fourth quarter, but our ABC Tile Adhesive heavy-duty player of the game, 16 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists are right there. Jerry Abadiano, 13 points in that final quarter, and just an amazing performance brought about by Abadiano and the rest of the UP Fighting Maroons. NU had some fight to it, but UP just didn't let up, and just like what you said, floodgates started opening for some of them. Here are your smart powered-up plays.
Yeah, Francis Noruca starting off hot in the first half for UP. Noy Remogat having his moments as we expected, but PJ Palacielo just trying to power his way down low. Paul Francisco too had his moments. Steve Nash Enriquez tried to make things interesting, but in the end, Jerry Abadiano just getting the advantage and getting the win for Diliman.
A solid outing from the representatives of the UP Fighting Maroons. You're looking at the key matchups from your pusofilipinas.com. It's Jerry Abadiano, good as advertised ever since. Meanwhile, Jolo Manansala, you'd love to expect more from him for next game.
Expect a bounce back from Jolo Manansala, but Jerry Abadiano, as a veteran as they come, and helping UP to go up 1-0 in this preseason.
Really solid and crucial moments make up the best players from what we've seen. 16 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists coming in from Jerry Abadiano as he, together with the other veterans of the University of the Philippines, are looking to spearhead what could potentially be another straight shot at that title defense, because again, they're the defending champions of that 17th Preseason Cup, and they don't want to give it to anybody else. At that moment, I honestly felt like this is an opportunity that they could utilize, and here are your full game stats as well. Pretty close, to be honest, but at the same time, you look at the 3-point field goals.
Yeah, 7 3-pointers making the difference for UP. Also, the 20 assists from the 28 field goals. Just an impeccable sharing of the basketball for UP. And you had their moments out rebounding UP, but really, UP just getting that a little extra thanks to Jerry Abadiano down the stretch.
That full game stat was presented to you by Bostic El General All-Purpose Epoxy. And in behalf of Courtney Buenaventura and Randolph Leongson, my name is Hans Galeria. Magbabalik ang PlayTime Cares Filoil EcoOil 18th Preseason Cup.
Itong part na to.
Si Vic Soto na ata ang pinakaswerteng tao sa Pilipinas. Kahit hindi niya alam, kahit hindi niya sinasadya. Swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa
PlayTime. Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Over 2,500 games para maraming chances manalo. Swerte sa akin ng PlayTime. You're welcome.